Is Starmer turning Britain into a dictatorship? Plans to place surveillance cameras across our major cities? Trial by jury scrapped? Plans for digital IDs and the continued free speech crackdown? Two-tier policing is in plain sight for all to see. Council elections were cancelled last year, and now mayoral elections will be postponed for the next 2 years. In this video, Nigel Farage at the Reform Press Conference blasts Labour over its decision to cancel mayoral elections. Then we are going to look at the state of Labour's Britain through the lens of 3 leadership principles: transparency, servant leadership, and freedom. Before we get into the details, if you love diving into political issues and enjoy hearing a principled take on them, then hit the like button, share this video, and subscribe to join the conversation. It will help our channel reach a wider audience.
It's been a pretty extraordinary week in British politics, and some might say pretty extraordinary day in British politics. Today's the day we learn that there will be surveillance cameras, not just in our big cities, but literally in every single village. The surveillance state is getting very, very close indeed. And that, of course, in the same week that we learn that the 800-year right to trial by jury is to be abolished in the majority of cases. And by the way, the argument that magistrates deal with many of the minor cases, well, think about it. 3 magistrates actually form a mini jury of their own. And of course, despite not being in the manifesto, the government want to introduce digital ID, leaving literally every single one of us in this country open to hackers. And it is, frankly, a very authoritarian government. It doesn't really believe in liberty. It doesn't really believe in individual freedom. And we learned, and it began last year, it doesn't really believe in democracy either. The decision last year for 7 of the county council elections not to go ahead on May the 1st bore no logic at all. How is it logical that Kent went ahead, but just across the river, Essex didn't? It made no sense at all. Now, I know one of the reasons for it, of course, was the Conservative leaders of those councils were urging the government not for the elections to go ahead because they wanted to stay in place. Well, we had been promised mayoral elections this year, and I spoke to a senior member of an Essex council this morning who told me word for word, the councils are ready for these elections, and we have spent millions across the county of Essex alone in preparation. Now, the fact that we've been told that the county council elections will go ahead just 1 year late is a good thing, not a bad thing. But the fact that these mayoral contests are to be postponed for a further 2 years is monstrous, given firstly that the electorate were told they would go ahead, given the amount of money that's been spent in preparing for them. But there's another factor I think we should consider. My voters in Clacton will now be expected and asked to vote in 2026, in 2027, and in 2028. Forgive me, but they might be getting slightly confused as to what's going on in local government. Well, it is a local government reorganisation. I have to say, it's one personally that I'm completely opposed to. The concept of out on the end of Essex, tendering district council, which at least people do bear some sense of belonging to, identity with, allegiance to, will get replaced by some amorphous mass of a unitary, is not something that I approve of or believe in at all. But I have to accept there's nothing we can do to stop it. But the other reason why these mayoral elections should go ahead is we're going to need an elected figure in local politics to actually explain to people why they're being asked to vote year after year after year. So you really could say to yourself, there is absolutely no reason why these elections should not go ahead. But then there is, of course, one very big reason why these elections should not go ahead, and there's no prizes for guessing, but it is an electoral calculus put out their figures just a couple of hours ago that Reform would have won all 4 of these contests and would have won them quite comfortably. The government are basically committing electoral fraud upon the electorate, who had every opportunity to put reform mayors in place. Those elections would have been under first past the post. Nothing really could have changed that. By the time 2028 comes along, it'll be AV or some other system which the government think will disfavour the prospects of a reform win. You believe it or not believe it, the Guido Fawkes website say they've seen a briefing that the government wishes to make sure that reform can't win more than one mayoral contest every year. So what is happening is wrong. However, our adopted mayoral candidates, Peter Harris, Rear Admiral Parry, David Bick and Paul Lynham, they will stay in place. They will be our candidates in 2028, and they will now lead our county council campaigns in those areas. I don't think the government can now cancel those county council elections. They said only in exceptional circumstances, but I think that probably would mean there has been a sort of declaration, perhaps, of another pandemic. So we are annoyed, we are angry at what happened last year, and it just shows the total and utter disdain this country has for liberty, democracy, freedom in this country and everything that we have held dear. I have to say, personally, I increasingly hold the individuals that run this government with absolute and total contempt. So today is not a complete loss for us, and I suspect that this time yesterday, we might have seen an attempt to postpone the county council elections for a further year, but perhaps they realised just what a level of uproar and outrage that might have caused. We did last year launch a petition on this, which gained hundreds of thousands of votes, and we've launched that petition again today. Interestingly, the Conservative Party are now adopting exactly the same slogan as us, using the same font size on their social media, and pretending that they, too, are champions of democracy when it's their very own council leaders last year and this year urging for the elections not to go ahead. So we will fight the county elections, our mayoral candidates will stay in place, and we will, whatever the system, go ahead and win those council elections next year.
After a dismal first year in office and 2 terrible budgets that are crippling the British people, Labour is now desperate to cling to power by any means necessary. That includes cancelling elections. Think about what that actually means. No democratic nation stays a democracy without elections. Take away regular elections and you no longer have a government that answers to the people. You have a dictatorship that treats citizens however it wants. This is Britain, the country that lectures the world about rights and freedoms. Yet right now, the same government defends those rights for everyone else but refuses them for its own people. We are heading down a dangerous path. If we do not turn around soon, the tide will be almost impossible to reverse. In a real democracy, the government works for the people and puts their interests first. Government exists to serve the people, not to rule over them. Whenever leaders stop serving and start acting like our masters, they are no longer legitimate. Full stop. Legitimate leadership has nothing to hide. It shines a light so that the people can see exactly what they are doing and judge it for themselves. Freedom is non-negotiable for any law-abiding citizen. It is that feeling in your gut that tells you something has gone badly wrong, even when the government keeps saying everything is fine. As the government push these plans forward, the British people are waking up. We know what freedom feels like. So when oppression starts, we can feel it. The Washington Post got it right. Democracy dies in darkness. So here's a choice. We either force the light back on through transparency, hold our leaders to account as servants of the people, and defend the freedom we were born with, or we lose it all. Share this video. Talk about it. Ask the questions they do not want you to ask. Keep the light on. because once it goes out, getting it back may cost far more than any of us will be able to pay. If you have benefited in any way from this video, please subscribe, like, share, and be sure to leave us a comment.